Hi, it's Nikolas here from Meinklang in Austria. Hello everyone in Canada. It's an interesting time for sure, and I thought I'd explain you a little bit about the winery and where we are located and what we are doing here at Meinklang. So we are an Austrian farm. We are mixed agriculture on the far east of Austria on the Hungarian border, roughly 1.5 hours-ish from Vienna, southeast. So you're passing a quite huge lake, which is a flat, narrow lake called the New Settler Lake, and this is more or less also the sub-appellation. Has a huge impact, obviously, on the microclimate, because behind the lake on the other shore you have the Leitergebirge, which is a mountain range, the end of the Alps, and where we are based used to be a swamp, which was drained by man-made canals in the 16th century and turned into a fertile, rich farming land. And this is the Pannonian flatlands, basically. It's like grasslands, pretty dry in general, but also really dry and hot in summer, nearly like you would be in a Mediterranean climate. This is due to the hot winds which come from all the way over from the Arabic Peninsula and bring all these heated up winds with them. So it's really hot and dry and windy in the summer and quite mild in the winter. So we have a quite long vegetation period, which starts sometimes really early already and can last also quite late. That means you have a quite good range of wines and varieties you can farm and make. I think for the longest time that area was abused a little bit by too heavy agriculture, and because it's flat and people interpreted this warm climate that they can make really like heavy alcoholic full wines and concentrate them on purpose. And we have a different approach. We are mixed agriculture with a small family running the operation. It's the Michlits family who run the farm over many generations. And then in the early industrialization of farming, which hit it here a lot as well in the 70s, early 80s, the parent generation took over the farm and turned it into a full organic farm, which was really early in that time, just because that was the only future you could imagine, to be an individual, stable, independent, self-sufficient farm, and away from this long short-term thinking industrial monocultures which the agriculture or the agro industry put us into in the farming picture all over the world. And wine was for us always a part of farming, and it still is. But then in 2001, the oldest son, Bernhard, started with his wife, Angela, to establish the old farmhouse where I'm now into a proper winery. And that was the first time we made also a product out of our farmed good. In classical farming, we would always sell the grain to a mill, the animal to a butcher, the grapes to a winemaking facility, like you have all over the world in any kind of farming. And we kept that by ourselves then and developed that into the mixed agriculture, which I think is our uniqueness. This is why you see also the cow always on the label, representing our diversity, our fertility as a farm, and our independency as a farm. And the cow stands for a certain liveliness at the farm, I would say. And they're not necessarily part of the wine, but they are part of the wine because of this independency, this liveliness, this seeing it as one organism brings also a lot of character, in our opinion, to our wines, and therefore makes them interesting. So our aim is to make really handcrafted pure wines. Obviously, otherwise you wouldn't see something else at the Living Vine. It makes totally sense, that name, to our wines. And it's everything spontaneous fermenting. We don't interact so much or not at all in the fermentation. We think that's a pure process which has to stay pure and without interfering. And also we believe that the work you do in the vineyards, you can just transfer into a wine by having a hands-off mentality. Though that saying doesn't mean that we like to make really funky wines. Wines have a character, and sometimes they are maybe having a lot of edges and corners, and sometimes they are really balanced or in harmony. That depends. That's in humans, that's in a lot of foods like cheese, that's in everything what is not so interfered. I think we came really away from wine on that and made it into a close-minded product rather than in a live thing representing farming where you can shine through and get also that information by drinking it. So yeah, but we try to make really humble wines which are fun and give you this certain understanding of the character, but also don't overwhelm you necessarily. We don't want to make wines which are too complicated. We like to make wines which are being down to earth, same as farming should be in our opinion. Anyways, that's Gruner Veltliner. Yeah, 2020, the fresh new vintage. Obviously that is a wine, you see it in the color in the glass, which is really represented from its youthfulness. It's most of our wines are unfiltered. This is one of the only 3 wines which are filtered because it's a young wine and we bring it early on the market because we like the freshness and the vibrancy of it, the electricity of it. We think a filtration here fits to the style because it makes the wine a bit more reductive, a bit more fresher and compact. Rather yeast makes the wine always a little bit more wider and broader, and maybe needs also a little bit more aging to find its balance with the yeast in the bottle. But in general, I think it's a great representative of our farm. It's for me always the important wines, the wines which we do since ever, or since we started 20 years ago. The wines are always those wines, the Gruner Veltliner, and we have a few others like that, are always a good bridge builder. You can bring them to any party. You have a biodynamic farm wine, spontaneously fermented, naturally made. Super interesting for someone who's into that, but same also interesting maybe for the grandma who drank her entire life more filtered classical Chardonnays or something like that. So it's a bridge builder, it's a good communicator, and opens doors for many people, in my opinion, who are new to biodynamic farmed wines, who are new to natural wines in general. It's a field blend. It's not a field blend, sorry. It's a blend of different parcels. We have here in the Seewinkel, where we are, the New Settler Lake area, classically because of inheritation, many different little parcels. So as we try to build bigger vineyards together. Our biggest vineyard has 10 hectares altogether, where we can make beautiful biodiversity projects. But on the other side, we also have a lot of different individual parcels, which we do like because it gives a certain diversity, a mildness, and a bigger picture a little bit to the wines, which fits exactly to the terroir, in our opinion, in the Seewinkel, which has this milder, harmonious energy from looking, from climate, from everything. So yeah, you get a quite balanced, more aromatic Gruner Veltliner that you're maybe used to in the north of Austria, which is more acidic. I think we still have really fresh, nice acidity. We pick much earlier than many of our colleagues here because we like light wines, we like low alcohol. Still, we want full phenolic ripeness, and that's, I think, what you see here in the wine. I'm not a huge fan of talking about aromas because I think that's free for everyone else, and you have to dig in the wine and understand it with your own feelings and imagination. So I will not tell you what I'm smelling or tasting, but surely it's fresh, slightly aromatic, though really dry wine with a nice dry finish, crisp. You feel a little bit the interpretation of the yeast storage because all of our wines stay on the fine lees for a certain time. We don't take them away because we think that gives a lot of character into the wine. It's purely made in stainless steel to, again, keep this freshness and youthfulness. And I think, yeah, it fits really great to many different occasions. A great aperitif wine, but it also works well just on a nice summer feast, which you have with many salads and mezzes and little snacks. Definitely a classical to schnitzel. Everything what's fried looks for a fresh, crisp wine, and that's what you have here. I think also oysters and a lot of fish dishes. It's really diverse, and I'm not a fan of pairing hard quality wine with food. I think cook food, open a wine and have fun, and either it works or not. If not so much, you drink it afterwards or the next day. So that's it for me. Have fun, enjoy it, bye.